All right, this video is a reply to a poster who goes by the handle Silence DoGood. Now, Silence, you had posted some remarks on a video on my channel about The Last Jedi Damage Control. And first of all, I just want to say thank you for the in-depth remarks that you were making. You're the only one really who has posted any sort of in-depth remarks as to why you liked the film. So thank you for that. I do want to just jump right in and begin addressing some, perhaps not all of the points, but the reason being I had begun crafting a lengthy point-by-point reply, and then after spending some time on it, the page refreshed and I lost all of that work, and as you can imagine, that was frustrating. So I'm just going to take a shortcut here and just make a brief video, reply to some of your points and address those. Now, the one that you lead out with is that Kylo Ren is a complicated and interesting villain. And my response to that is that no, because indecision is not interesting. Kylo Ren is basically the dude in line in front of you at the drive-thru at McDonald's who cannot decide whether he wants the chicken nuggets or the cheeseburger. Okay, this amounts to a tremendous waste of time and aggravation for everyone involved. Indecision does not move a plot or a story forward. Indecision is not leadership. Okay, a basic principle of leadership is decisiveness. So at this point, Kylo Ren is not qualified to be anyone's leader, much less the supreme leader of anything, because he cannot decide what he is. What makes a character interesting is something called belief. What a character believes is what drives all of their actions. What a character believes determines their decisions. What a character believes is going to drive the plot forward. When they don't know what they believe, or what they want, or who they are, you cannot have a plot that moves anywhere. So now you might make the argument that a character who in the course of a story changes what they believe, that could be interesting. But a character who cannot decide that is not. Regarding Snoke. Okay, this I think was just a missed opportunity here. You had an opportunity, or Ryan did, to do something different from what we've seen in the previous films, when you have someone who is extremely powerful in the dark side of the Force, who has machinations for controlling multitudes of people, in this case the galaxy, and how are they going to go about fulfilling that desire? Unfortunately, what you have in this film is basically a cut and paste from Emperor Palpatine's playbook. There was nothing new or interesting about how Snoke was going about achieving his ends. There could have been a variety of different ways in which he was doing this or trying to accomplish this, and involving his relationship with the First Order. Anyway, I just think that was a missed opportunity. Was not anticipating some sort of full-on film devoted to his backstory by any means. I'm just saying this was a tremendously wasted opportunity in his character. You pointed out that Kylo does confront Luke Skywalker. No, actually he confronts a mirage, a Force hologram, or whatever you want to call it, of Luke Skywalker. But that wasn't really the thrust of the point. Was that Kylo was not ascendant, was my point. Okay? Before he goes down to face off with what he thinks is Luke Skywalker. He is not acting ascendant. While he is facing off with Luke Skywalker, he is not ascendant, nor acting like a supreme leader. He's acting like a teenage tantrum, you know, he's throwing a rage and a fit everywhere. That was my point. He's not an ascendant villain. A remark about where the First Order comes from, what are their, you know, goals, how are they able to achieve everything that they've been able to achieve. Now, they've come out of nowhere. They've managed to overnight assassinate the entire government of a galaxy with virtually no military response other than from this small resistance. Where's the rest of the galaxy on this? You know, and how is it that in this next film, they're basically running everything? There's some explanation, I think, owed to people trying to follow what's happening in the film to establish that on some level. You make a remark, one line, from one character in a previous film, not even in this film, that basically just says, well, they arose out of the dark side. Okay, that's not a description. That's a sentence. You ask, do you expect to be the same person you are today 30 years from now? No, I don't. I do expect myself to be smarter, hopefully wiser, maybe a little bit fatter. I do expect that my love and relationships with my family members, with my friends, are deeper, and that that my faith and my core values, my principles, my beliefs are all 30 years down the road more firmly rooted and grounded and enriched, just like they are in the life of my father and my mother and any of the older people that I look up to in my life. That's what I anticipate 30 years from now. What we have in Luke Skywalker in this version is not someone who's more mature, more grounded, more enriched, and deeper, more experienced. What we have is a break in character, the breaking of the character of Luke Skywalker. Okay, and this is not just my opinion. This is actually a principle in writing, and that is that you don't break an established character. And that's what was done. What we've been given is a Luke Skywalker who has abandoned his family, abandoned his friends, abandoned the galaxy, abandoned his faith, abandoned his principles. So that's a problem. It was jarring for the audiences to watch this. Frankly, it was jarring for Mark Hamill to act in this film, and he said as much. Personally, I think it was disrespectful to Mark Hamill, and it was a degradation of the character of Luke Skywalker. I don't know how you see that any other way. You try to make a comparison here with Yoda. Look, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda went into hiding out of necessity, and they did so also with a purpose, and that was to watch over Luke Skywalker until a certain amount of time had gone by, and then bring him sort of on board to perchance make a difference in the turn of events in the galaxy. So there was a purpose to it. And they were sacrificing, you think about, Obi-Wan Kenobi in particular, basically giving up decades of his life just on this mission. What Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi did not do, they did not abandon their faith. They did not abandon their principles. They did not abandon the mission. So it's a completely different thing happening with Yoda and Obi-Wan than it is with Luke Skywalker. Very different. And I'm glad you brought up the death of Yoda. Thank you for doing that, because what you see in these important deaths is not what you see happening with Luke Skywalker now in The Last Jedi. Luke Skywalker watched Obi-Wan Kenobi lay down his life. Luke Skywalker watched the death of his father, Anakin Skywalker. Luke Skywalker watched the death of his other mentor, Grandmaster Yoda. Okay, all of these deaths had a direct and tremendous impact on the journey and maturation of the character of Luke Skywalker, propelling him forward. Let me ask you this. Who watched Luke Skywalker die? No one watched Luke Skywalker die. He was completely alone. And even regarding what was happening between him and Kylo Ren, Rey was on the other side of the mountain doing what? Force floating boulders. Where did she learn how to do that, by the way? Anyway, no one's connected to the death of Luke Skywalker, and therefore no one can be propelled forward by it. A tremendous swing and a miss here in this film. Anyway, I think those are the things that I just want to hit right off the bat. Not going to go in depth anymore on this recording, but at the top of your post, Silence DoGood, you sort of insinuate that I'm just sort of on some sort of a bandwagon or a sheep mentality, that I don't like this film just because I heard other people don't like it, or because it's cool to be critical. Far, far from it. I've been a fan of this series, and my whole family has, for many, many years. And so these are my thoughts, my opinions, and there you have them.